is Football Night in America, served by Applebee's.
Hello and welcome to our Week 15 wrap-up. Maria Taylor alongside Tony Dungy, Drew Brees. We've got Mike Florio here and Steve Kornacki because the playoff push is upon us and he is here to break it down. But guys, I want to start with the biggest upset of the day in Week 15, and it was the Arizona Cardinals going on the road, losing their first road game to the Detroit Lions in Motor City.
And I have to say, Maria, I did not see this one coming. I thought Arizona would go in there, explode on offense, all those playmakers, but the Detroit defense played outstanding.
Yeah, and they were really flat the whole game. They got
Arizona,
beat.
yeah.
Yes, Arizona was flat the whole game. They got beat in every phase at every point in that game. And up until this point, I would say Arizona's losses have been just a lot of self-inflicted wounds. You know, turning the ball over, but certainly positions where they should have won the game. Today was not the case, not even close. And I think it's disappointing because you come off a tough loss against the Rams. This is a game you got to win to get back on track. And listen, you're still fighting for just to win the division now because you're now even with the Rams.
Yeah. Right. Mike, what concerns you most about the way the Cardinals lost this game?
Well, I heard Drew say during the halftime show that the fact that you have that Monday night loss and you don't regroup, you don't refocus, you fail to go on the road and get a win that you're supposed to get. Good teams win the games they're supposed to win. And I know the Cardinals have had kind of a chip on their shoulder all year that they haven't gotten the credit that they think they deserve. You lose to a team like the Lions and you're not going to get any credit. And people have real questions about whether or not this team can win games when it matters most. Do they have the leadership? Do they have the maturity? The fact that they lost a game like today tells me that they are missing something in that locker room that's necessary to get guys focused and take care of a game that they should have won easily.
And I tell you, concern for me, Maria, Detroit playing without their top running backs, ran the ball for over 120 yards, and now Arizona, you're going to see Jonathan Taylor and a team that really wants to run the ball at you. You better get that run defense ready.
Yeah, it's just the NFL's leading rusher, and he has 8 games with at least 100 yards rushing. Let's move on to Green Bay and Baltimore. So obviously, Baltimore playing without Lamar Jackson, but we saw Tyler Huntley come in and play well, but still it came down to a 2-point conversion, and it'll be the second time in 3 weeks, Mike Florio, that we've seen it not actually work out for the Baltimore Ravens. What was your takeaway from this game?
Well, my first reaction, and I'll be curious to hear what you guys have to say about this. It's one thing to go for 2 and have up or down, win or lose with no time on the clock, but you're still giving the ball back to Aaron Rodgers with 42 seconds. And I'd frankly rather give it back to him in a tie game than him knowing he's down by 1. I mean, there's still a good chance he's going to get in position to beat you anyway, but I'd at least let him think he's got overtime in his back pocket than feel like he has to get down the field. We saw him do it against San Francisco back in Week 3. We know he can do it. So I would have been inclined, regardless of whatever formulas they use to get to that point, I didn't like the play call either. I would have been inclined to just say, let's play for overtime and hope Aaron Rodgers doesn't take a risk or something that he would do to get the ball in field goal range to win it.
Yeah, and I kind of look at it the other way. When I was coaching in those situations, if I felt like I had the better team, then I want to go into overtime and let my quality play out over 10 or 15 minutes. But in this situation, you're going against Aaron Rodgers. You're playing with a backup quarterback, and I've got a chance to win the game with one play from the 2-yard line. I'll take that, but I'm like Mike. I didn't like the play call.
I agree with both of you. I didn't like the play call either. I love the fact that you're trying to get it to your best player in Mark Andrews and the guy who had been your go-to guy all game. But a better way to do it other than just a one-man, you know.
Put him out wide against the corner.
You're sprinting out with the corner and a safety that's bearing downhill because he's got no other responsibility. That's a tough way to lose.
Well, either way you slice it, that's a 3-game losing streak for Baltimore. So to help us understand and process the playoff push that they're on now, Steve Kornacki is here with us.
Yeah, Maria, the playoff path for the Ravens is getting pretty rocky. So start of the month, the Ravens were 8-3. Remember, they were actually technically at that point in the #1 spot in the AFC. That was going into the game against the Steelers. They had a 73% shot at the playoffs, almost a 50% chance of winning the AFC North. Then they lost those 2 games. They lost to the Steelers. They lost to the Browns. They took a hit coming into today. This is what the playoff probabilities looked like for the Ravens. Now, can we put a number on the what if on that 2-point conversion? I know there was a little time on the clock, but it's basically this. If the Ravens had gotten the 2-point conversion and then gone on to win the game, they would right now have almost an 80% chance of making the playoffs. They'd be a better than 50-50 shot to win their division, just if they could have beaten the Packers today. Instead, of course, the conversion fails. They lose the game. And here's what it looks like right now for the Ravens. They are 50-50 just to make the playoffs. They're 26% to win the AFC North. And by the way, this is what they're staring at for the final 3 games of the season: at the Bengals, the Rams, the Steelers. 3 tough games. Obviously, that game next week in Cincinnati looming particularly large when you talk about the AFC North.
Great stuff, Steve. I mean, that's hard to think. The way the Baltimore started, this is how they're having to end during their path to the playoff. But he brought up the Cincinnati Bengals, so let's go there with their game against Denver. We saw Teddy Bridgewater get injured. We saw Drew Lock have to come in and take over. But we also saw the big play Bengals being able to get the victory. Drew, what stood out to you in the win?
Well, it was hard fought, and you're going on the road against a team that really has to win that game in the Broncos in order to keep their playoff hopes alive. So you knew it was going to be hard fought. I think just winning any game is a good feat on the road, but finding a way to win it in the fourth quarter, and just especially knowing what's at stake now this week, hosting the Ravens, who you beat up pretty good early in the year, but you know they're kind of fighting for their playoff life as well. So it really sets up what's going to be a great matchup this week.
And I thought Joe Burrow scrambling, just making plays, keeping drives alive, third down scrambles. He was big today, and that defense came up with stops when they needed it.
What impressed you most, Mike?
Well, I was stunned that the Broncos were favored to win the game, and that just, I think, is this lingering reality that people look at the Bengals and they say they're still the Bengals, and they're not. They were better than the Broncos, and they got the win. What stunned me even more, though, is after the game, Bengals coach Zach Taylor says that their defense sent a message to the rest of the league. They beat the Broncos. They didn't shut down the best offense in football. Right. Backup quarterback comes in and they beat him. I mean, let's see him do it against, and I wouldn't even say the Ravens because it's not like they have a good offense either, but they need to do it against a good offense before we believe in their defense. Okay, Coach, I tried to avoid making you talk about this game, but you're going to have to do it. Tennessee and Pittsburgh. Tennessee led it by 10 at the half. It was turnovers that killed them. Can you just walk me through it, how you're feeling so frustrated right now?
I feel for Mike Vrabel. I really do. He preaches, hey, discipline and focus and doing things right and little things, details, comes from the New England school. You hold Pittsburgh to 168 yards and you don't win the game. You turn the ball over 4 times. That's just not winning football, and that's where they are right now. They've got to get that correct.
And if they can, they rushed for 200 yards today, and they played good defense.
And had the ball for almost 40 minutes.
Exactly. So they've got that formula down. They just need to quit turning the dang ball over, because that's certainly what's got them beat. But they're still a team that I think if they can just take care of the ball, they will be a dangerous team going into the playoffs.
Mike, they are -9 in turnover margin over the last 4 games are the Tennessee Titans.
And that's the worst place to do it, in Pittsburgh, on a day when you could just feel in the air that the Steelers needed it, that forget about records, forget about who's better or who's worse. We've seen several games this year, whether it was the Bills game all the way back in week 1, the Ravens a couple of weeks ago when they went to Cleveland. I mean, they win games where we think they are done. And after that loss to Minnesota on Thursday night, you just figure they're done, fold it up, and it's over. But there's just something about it. You don't want to be the team that goes into Heinz Field on a day like that with the towels flying and renegade in the fourth quarter. It's a tough place to pull off a victory against a team that still has baked in its DNA how to win.
All right, well, Tennessee has lost 3 of 4, which continues to make the AFC picture interesting, which makes us interested in hearing what Steve Kornacki has to say about it.
Well, yeah, Maria, a lot of movement in the AFC. Starting at the top, look, coming into today, the Chiefs were actually in 3rd place. You had a 3-way tie for the top seed. But the Chiefs, coming into this week, I should say, the Chiefs got the win in the Thursday night game. The Pats lost to the Colts. You just talked about Tennessee losing to Pittsburgh, and all of a sudden, it's just like it's been the last few years. Here's the Kansas City Chiefs in the middle of December in sole possession of 1st place in the AFC. So a change at the top. The biggest statistical gainer this week, though, was actually the Indianapolis Colts. Look, a week ago, they had just gotten into the top 7. They had a 60% chance coming into today of making the playoffs. They come out of this week, though, with an 80% chance. That win over the Pats, absolutely huge for the Colts. 80% shot they make the playoffs. Another big gainer, you don't see it just looking at it on the screen here, but Buffalo, they were 7th before. They're still in that 7th spot now, but Buffalo beating Carolina and New England losing to the Colts brings the Bills within one game of the Patriots. And, of course, where do the Bills go next week? They go to Foxborough. If the Bills can win that game, that's a big if, obviously, but if they can, they would have the tiebreaker in the AFC East. They would jump the Patriots, take the lead, take control of the AFC East. And the other thing, the big mess, I'm saving it for the end here, the AFC North, the big change there. Baltimore came into the week first place in the AFC North. Baltimore's loss didn't just knock them out of the lead in the AFC North. Look at this for the moment. It has knocked them out of the top 7. They've been replaced for the moment, I should say, atop the AFC North by Cincinnati. Cincinnati getting that win over Denver. But Cleveland playing the Raiders. If Cleveland can knock off the Raiders on Monday night, Cleveland would actually jump Cincinnati and get into the lead in the AFC North. So really what you got here is between Baltimore, Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh, you've got 4 teams in the AFC North that are all within a half game of each other. They're all going to be playing each other. Each one's got 2 division games left. There's a viable path for all 4 teams in that division to emerge on top.
I love it, Steve. Make it nice and spicy for the last 4 games of the regular season. Okay, we're going to make it spicy now with our recap. A little game of who you got. We're going to start with the mess that Steve Kornacki just described, and that's going to be the AFC North winner. It's a toss-up. I could give you all 4 teams, but you just got to pick one, Drew. Who would you roll with?
I've been rolling with the Bengals, so I'm going to say Cincinnati Bengals.
And I'm going to say Cleveland. If they can get their COVID issues squared away, they can run the ball in cold weather in January. I like where the Browns are.
Mike?
I know the Steelers have a tough stretch, but I've been saying that and one from that tie against Detroit. It's going to make a difference. It's going to make a difference.
Where's your towel?
I didn't play for him, Coach. You played for him.
Okay, AFC South winner, Titans or Colts?
I think the Titans are going to win it, but the Colts are the team I would not want to play in the playoffs. Again, when you get into cold weather in January, that running game and that offensive line, I wouldn't want to play them.
I agree with you. I think Tennessee's going to win the division, but they're pretty stagnant right now. I think the Colts are an ascending team.
Mike?
It is weird to think that the team that's likely to win the division is the team you'd rather see in the postseason because you don't want to see the Colts. What we saw last night, they're built to play in January, and the irony is they play their games in a dome. They're the best cold weather team in the AFC.
Mr. Ursay will have the roof open, though.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Okay, let's move to the AFC East, where a game basically decides this. Are you going with the Pats or the Bills?
And it's
We
hard
get to watch it play out on the field.
Hard to pick against the Patriots at home in a game that they have to win. I don't see them losing in Foxborough.
I'm picking the Bills to beat the Patriots next
You have been on the Bills.
He has been on the Bills the whole
year.
time. I like you for not changing your mind, Drew.
Sticking with it.
Stick to it.
That's right.
Mike?
Yeah, I like the Patriots, but I liked them last night, and I don't know what went wrong last night. They got to figure it out quickly because that was ugly last night.
Okay, NFC West winner. Are we going with the Cardinals or the Rams?
I'm going with the Rams. I just don't like the Cardinals the last couple of weeks. They just haven't looked like they're in sync.
I'm going to take the Cardinals.
Okay.
I think they're going to bounce back.
I'll say the Rams, too, because the Cardinals don't have DeAndre Hopkins, and he's not going to be back until maybe the NFC Championship if they even get there. Even though he didn't have huge numbers this year, his presence made that offense go for the other guys out there.
Yeah, and the Cardinals are not having to go into the Lions, and we all know how difficult it is to play there in Motown, so luckily they're going to take on the Rams. Let's see whether or not they get to win the NFC West. Meanwhile, that is our wrap-up for Week 15. We will see you for Week 16, the day after Christmas. It's going to be so excited. Football Night in America coming your way at 7 Eastern. We hope you join us.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.